Greetings everyone, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Always a pleasure having you guys here today. This week's tutorial, patrons voted on having me paint a sunset over the ocean, and some waves. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today and see where it takes us, have fun with it. I love sunsets, so this is a fun theme for me. If you'd like to see commercial-free tutorials, check out the Patreon page up here. All right, let's go over the materials needed for today. We need this fluffy blending brush, some of these Artist Loft brushes. They're like stiff and flat. I don't know if you could see that, but I always like to use them. And then any 1/2 inch flat brush and a detail brush, round detail brush right here. And I think that's it for the brushes. Oh, actually we might need to use this. This is a number 4 flat brush. So any number 4 flat brush will work. Because I'm gonna be adding some sand and I'm gonna use this little cup right here. You can have any plastic cup, but I use this from a varnish, the cap. I'm gonna put some white in there and sprinkle on some white sand reflection from the sun. So let's experiment, see what we can create, but that's what I'm using. Now let's go over the paints. I recently came up with my own high quality acrylics, and we need cadmium yellow, ultramarine blue, Naphthol red light, carbon black, and titanium white. Now you can use any acrylics you have available. They should work. These are also available on my website and along with a fluffy brush. As I said, you can use any acrylics you have available. I just like to use these because they're highly pigmented, and also they stay wet a little longer than golden or some other acrylics that I've used before, which sometimes I prefer actually when I use the hair blow dryer to dry them quickly. But for those of you who are starting out or like them to last a little bit longer, they work great for that. All right, next we need a palette and a palette knife. We need any jar of water to put your brushes in here when you're not using them. And then some paper towels. And hair blow dryer if you have it. I like to use that to dry out my first, coats. I'm using a 16 by 20 inch canvas and it's ready to go. And I believe that's all for today. Okay, so we're gonna take our yellow here in our palette, and then what we're gonna do first, I'll explain really briefly, is we're gonna have a horizon line not in the middle but a little bit higher, so we can have room to play with the ocean and the waves and the foam and stuff, and sand here. So it's gonna be a little higher right here. We're gonna have a few clouds here. The sun will be right about there, and then it's gonna reflect down up here. And then yeah, let's see what we can do. And so let's take our yellow here and create first couple shades. So we're gonna squeeze it out, add it about right there. And then our next one maybe a little smaller. Let's just do 3. So a little bigger than my nail, and then it goes a little smaller and smaller, as you can see. So that's yellow. So every time I take, every time I'm done with the color, I go ahead and put the lid back on so that the paint won't dry inside. So just put it on real quick. And then we're gonna take our white. Let's take our white and then add it right in here. And then actually a little more, and then a little less, right about there. So about the same amount as yellow. Then it goes a little less, a little less. Again, we're gonna create more shades, but let's start with these three first. Okay, now let's take our red. Right here. And then we're going to, let's add it right here. Just a touch of this red, not that much, you could see. And a little bit here, okay? I have a little bit right there, just a little bit, just a little speck right there. That's what we want. And then just a little more, and a little more here. As you can see, very little. Let's mix those real quick, see what colors it gives us. So palette knife, and then our first shade right here. And it could be a little, you know, darker or a little brighter than mine. Just have fun with it. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. And then I also have people ask me if, you know, if they don't have the Naphthol red light or cadmium yellow, or, you know, specific shades that I'm using. Honestly, any primary colors should work. It'll just give you a little bit of a different kind of look, or like a feel to it, or different shading, but it still will work. So, you know, experiment with the colors. I just like to use these primary colors. So right here, it gave me this very bright yellow orange. And then our second shade should give us an orange color. Just mix them in real quick. Don't spend too much time trying to blend the colors. You know, just roughly mix them in like this. That's good enough, because once we lay these colors down on our canvas, we're gonna use our blending brush to blend everything in nicely again. So that's where the blending will happen. So don't spend too much time, you know, trying to create your blending or shades onto your palette. And this one should be leaning towards like a peachy color, okay? Right here, we know these colors. I've mixed these colors before, so let's continue. I think what I'm gonna do actually is, yeah, I'm gonna leave that and let's add some more shades. So now I'm gonna take the blue and add it just a little bit here, not that much, and then a little more here. Yeah, a little more right there. Okay, that's good enough. And then I'm going to take my white right here, and then squeeze some white right here, and then let's add some white up in here, and then white in here, like this much. So almost 2 thumbs full of white, you know, a little less here, right there. So let's mix those real quick. Right there, just these two for now. Should give me a light blue. Light blue right there. I'm actually going to mix this blue with this white. Let's just mix it with the white. Let's just mix it. Make it very light blue. And if you're carrying a little bit of the orange or the, you know, the yellow, that's okay. It's gonna be a little green. That's what we want actually. We want a nice smooth transition. So into the blues. So that's good enough. Let's mix our final color here. So I think I'm gonna add a little more white in here actually, so that my blue won't be too intense. Right here. Okay, right there. Just a little bit of more blue, white. Just mix that in. the way I do it is I always look at my palette first once, you know, I lay down the basic colors to mix, and then I start mixing, and then I see the difference between my next like shades next to each other. And if it's too intense, if it's very big difference, you know, then I add a little more white, or if it's too similar, then I would add a little more yellow or a little more red to make it a little more, you know, like a stronger change, if you know what I mean. But what I'm trying to do is have it be as smooth as possible, my sky to be transitioned. So if you could do that here on your palette, then you're blending, you know, it'll be easy to blend and lay down the colors on your canvas and blend them in nicely. So it really depends on how you have your shades mixed here. You know, I mean, like, not mixed as in like mixed perfectly, but like your, you know, your shades of colors you got on your palette. So we got these, and for our final color right here, I added red, a little bit of yellow, and white, and I want to make it more reddish, like a darker orange, I guess you could say. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more white in here. Just a little bit more white, and we should be good. Right there. Let's mix that in real quick. There you go. Okay, so now let's take our fluffy brush, dab it halfway, and then squeeze a little bit out, like this, so it won't be too wet. But we have water in there, just a little bit. And then we're gonna start with the lightest colors. So let's start with this yellow here, the brightest, and add it. So that's where the sun will be. Let's add it right in here. And then let's just quickly draw out the horizon. The horizon's gonna be like right there. And it's just gonna go like this, okay? So that's where the yellow will be. You can just bring some of it down. Okay, right there. You don't have to use all of it, so I'm gonna leave some. Leave some, like this. Next, let's take this orange and put it right around this area. Just around this sun right here. Okay. And then add it right there. Not always, but sometimes I dab the tip of the brush into my water, just a tip, so that it can run smoothly on the canvas. So I'm gonna continue using this yellow or this orange. And then from here, I'm gonna take this color and add it right here down below, roughly. You know, take this, put it in there. Okay, next, let's take this one and let's add it on top right here. Let's add it right there on top. Okay. So I'm dipping my tip of the brush in the water. Let's continue taking this color, put it right in here. dipping my tip again in the water, and then taking this color right here, and then here, this is where we're gonna, you know, you can add some in here as well. Okay. Here we're gonna take the blue, and that's our corner of the sky. And roughly put it in there. Don't spend time blending them yet. So then here we're gonna continue using this color. And then remember this orange? Let's put this orange right here. Roughly blend it in. Okay. Roughly blend it in. This orange. We're gonna go over these some more, but we're just covering our first coat real quick. So just take whatever paint you have left and put it in here. And then continue adding it, and then, you know, the ocean's gonna be right in here. So we're gonna go back and add the details in here later. But let's just cover it first. Just roughly cover everything. I'm gonna add the darker, you know, darker areas right here. In fact, we can do that real quick now. So what I'm gonna use is the red, just real quick, the red, and then a little bit of the black, okay? A little bit of the black. Just a little bit. I'll show you. So this is what I have, just a little bit right there. Take part of this, mix it in there. We just want a darker shade, like almost like a darker brown, okay? Right there. Right there, as you could see. It's not, you know, it's not 100% dark, but you could see the red. The red's almost like a brown color, like a cherry color almost like. So we're gonna take that and then put it right here on the bottom. So take all of it and just randomly put it on here. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna come back to this area again, but roughly put it in there. Okay, like that. Okay, so now I have two brushes. I like to have two of these because the paint is, while the paint is drying, you know, it works nice to have two of these instead of trying to clean one out real quick. You could, and if you have one, that's totally fine. Just clean it out, use the paper towel to, you know, it's still gonna be a little damp, and that's okay. So just, to save time, I have two of them. And I'm gonna start with the lightest area right here and blend everything in. So I'm gonna dab my brush lightly in the water, make it a little damp. Pretend we cleaned the brush, right? And just swirl it gently. Dab my brush so it could be a little bit left. Maybe take a little bit of the yellow. Okay. And we're gonna go over these areas again, but take more of this yellow if we need to. And just go from the lightest to the darkest. And if you need to dab your brush in water lightly, just a little bit, just the tip, okay? And then continue. Just adding a little bit of water on the tip so it can run smoothly. And then do the same thing on the bottom real quick. And the bottom doesn't have to be perfectly blended in because, like I said, we're gonna go over it again and add our details on the sand. This will be like the sand area. So don't spend too much time on the bottom. We want it to look a little bit rough anyway. Like this, perfect, see? I left a little bit of the roughness. That's what we want, okay? Oops, a little bit too much. See what I did there? I carried that darker paint from there into my lighter shade. So I'm gonna clean it out, rinse it out real quick, and just with a wet brush, carry that color and blend everything in. And there you have it. We have our first coat. I'm gonna quickly dry this out. All right, we got our first coat dry here. Now, what I've got here is 2 touches of red, some white and yellow on the side, and I'm gonna mix these. I'm gonna just take a little bit of this leftover orange here, mix it in with the red. I want it to be a, like a lighter red, I guess. Or like a hot pink color, I guess. Very dark orange. Whatever you see there. And I'm gonna take some of this blue here that we have left over, mix it in with the red here. And I think what I'm gonna do also is add a little bit of black. And these are the shades for the clouds, okay? So I'm gonna quickly do that. Okay, so I added a little bit too much black here, so I'm not gonna use all of it, but let's take some of this blue here and just a touch of this black. As you can see, black is a strong color. So just mix it in with the black. Maybe it was good enough. Maybe mix all of it in. We just want it to be a little darker than this shade right here. See, it's a little darker. That's what we want. Right there. That's good. And let's first start out with finishing drawing the sun. And what I'm gonna take is this Artist Loft 1/2 inch brush right here. I'm gonna dab it in the water, squeeze it out so it could be damp. It's damp now. And I'm gonna start with white, just pure white out of the tube. Take this paint and we're going to draw our sun. So our sun is gonna be right about here. So let's just draw a little circle here. It's gonna be about this big. Okay, and then it's gonna reflect down probably onto here. Okay, we're gonna draw our reflection in later, but but just to get an idea, it's gonna be about right in here. I'm not gonna draw the full bottom part yet. Just gonna finish the top. So now I like to use a paper towel so that to take away I don't add water or anything, so it's you know, to take out the wetness out of my brush. And then just around the edges of the you know, the sun, I'm gonna press a little bit harder and carry that white around. Press a little harder, and then just try to make it as circular, you know, as you can, and carry that white wider and wider. Okay, right there. So I'm going to continue with the white. So take a little more white, just a little bit. And I actually want to make it a little bigger. You don't have to. If you like yours a little smaller, that's fine. Make it as big as you want. And just go over the edges and blend them, the white in with the background color. Right about there. So I'm gonna take more of the white, put it right here in the middle. Draw my brush out, and I want to make the middle part, you know, very bright, and then fade it out to these other colors here. So what I actually have to do, because I'm pressing hard now and I'm taking away the paint underneath, is I'm gonna dry this out real quick with my hairblow dryer, and then we'll add more white, okay? There you go. As you can see, it's dry now, and it's easier to add more white layers right in the middle. I want that middle to be pure white. And you don't go all the way out, just blend everything in. Try to make it as circular as you can. Okay, so now that we have it, you know, blended as the way we want it, I'm gonna clean out my brush and use the paper towel to dry it out, but it's still a little damp, and I'm gonna take this yellow just on the corner of my brush here, and it has a little bit of water, as you could see, just in the corner. And what I'm gonna do is add the yellow right underneath where my white ends. Add that yellow. It's a very little amount of yellow, but it'll make your you know, sun glow nicely. Don't go in the white too much, but just blend it in. That'll really make your sun glow nicely. just go around gently. There you go. Let it dry. Okay, so we got a little bit of the yellow there, and we can also, you know, take some of this yellow and add it right here on the bottom, just with water and this yellow, and just put it in there roughly like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, just draw a line like this. Okay, kind of a reflection of that yellow glow onto the sand here. That's good enough. You don't need to blend that in, but we want a little bit of that yellow in here, okay? Right there. There you go. All right, moving on to the next thing. Now we're gonna add some details and some clouds. And first, what I'm gonna do is, remember this orange that we have here? Let's take some of this orange, dab the tip of our brush, just the tip of our brush into the water. We don't want it too runny, okay? So I'm taking away a little bit of that water, but just enough, okay? And then we're gonna add a cloud right in here, okay? Just a cloud right in here. Very light. Just going in. You know, just with water and this orange color that we have left, and carry it out like this a bit. And then as you go, so I'm gonna finish it right in here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, remember. It's gonna be very faded out. And then as we go deeper in there, it'll be a little darker, but let's add another one right in here, far away, just little ones. Maybe they're about to connect. You know, you don't need to add a lot, just a little bit, like this. That's good enough. I'm not gonna add too much there. I like the sun, the brightness of that sun. But I am gonna add a little bit in here. I'm gonna dry out my brush a bit. Take a little bit of this yellow, just pure yellow. Okay, maybe mix it in a little bit so that it won't be too dark in here. And just blend it in there, and you can just fade it out going down like this. Okay, just fade it out and do the same thing. Take the yellow, a little bit of this color, and then here I'm gonna put it right underneath this cloud. Remember, it's this cloud right here. So we're gonna take the yellow, just pure yellow, mix it in with the orange, or whatever orange you have. We just want, an orange color, but not a dark one. And let's add it right here on the bottom and bring it all the way down. Like this, okay? And now, I'm gonna dab my brush in the water and continue with this orange. Mix it in with the yellow. And I'm gonna carry some of the clouds underneath. They're far away clouds. You almost won't see these clouds, but they'll give a nice little touch once we add everything else. So that's why I'm adding them. So here, just make this a little bit more darker underneath here. And then your clouds could, you know, be shaped a little bigger or a little smaller. Just draw them the way you want them, okay? And then here, I'm gonna, remember this red we mixed? I'm gonna mix it in with this orange. Because what I'm trying to do is make a smooth transition, okay? I'm trying to make a smooth transition from the light going into the darker clouds. So then it goes like this. Okay. It's going like this, and then here, I'm gonna dab my brush in the water, just a tip, like I always do. Make sure it's not too wet, so I dab it like this on my palette. Continue with this darker orange here. And then I'm just gonna draw some in here, very little ones, and fade them out. And then here, let's draw one. Just some little ones in here. Just blend it out. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to make our sky more interesting and not be plain. Okay, so that's that right there. And then here, I'm gonna draw another couple fluffy ones. Little ones first. Continue with this red. Let's draw and dab it in there. And fade it out right about there. This is the fun part, because with the clouds, you don't, you know, there is no right or wrong, they're everywhere. And they're all sorts of shapes. And that's why I like to use a little bit of the water, because it blends it in with the background color nicely. It drags out the paint. So it, you know, blends it in really nicely. So just keep that in mind. That's why it's nice to have the background dry. Okay, so next we're gonna continue, and let's take this orange, mix it in with the yellow, and let's draw some lighter ones up in here. Actually, let's take this yellow right here. Remember this yellow? We just want a lighter color because of the sun hitting some of these clouds. We want them to be a bit lighter in here. So maybe even take the white actually. Let's take the white. Just the white. I'm gonna make some of these clouds light ones. Randomly add them in there and blend it out. You can add some of the white underneath some of these clouds. It'll give it a 3D look. Right there. Okay. Just underneath some of them. Leave this one as it is. But we want a little more here. All right, let's continue on. So let's take this purplish color, remember we have? Let's take that and add it right in here. I'm gonna combine it with this cloud right here. I'm going to dab my brush in the water, just a tip. Take more of this color and continue on adding more clouds. And if you need to, you know, blend it in, just press a little harder, okay? Just press a little harder on the canvas to carry the paint from your brush. Okay, so here, let's add it like this. Like I said, your clouds could be totally different than mine, okay? It does not have to be exactly like mine. So now this one, remember this darker one? Now I want it right in here. This will be our darkest area of the cloud. We're just gonna go straight up like this. Put it on the bottom. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. Now let's take this and combine it with this, remember? So let's continue. And then here is where we get the darker color. Mix it in. Carry some of it upwards. Let's take more of this darker one. Let's connect it right in here. And just randomly dab it in there. Mix it in there. It falls apart. The cloud starts to break. I'm gonna dab my brush in the water. And continue adding more. Okay, almost there. Let's take the red and the orange. And let's add a few more in here. Okay, right about right there. Here, let's underneath add another cloud. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush out. And then I'm going to take the orange here and, oops, a little too wet. I'm going to dry it out with a paper towel. Take the orange, mix it in with this one, just a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, I just want to blend this in with this cloud, so I'm going to carry that out like this and carry some of this orange with this randomly. Okay, right there. Okay, so now let's continue, and this is where we can take our, you know, 1/2 inch flat brush, dab it in the water, and I'm gonna take, okay, so now I'm gonna take let's add, actually, I'm gonna make a blue color. I want my sky to pop out, these colors, so I'm gonna take ultramarine blue, and then this leftover blue, and just a little bit of it, and mix it in here. I'm going to use this blue to add my some of my clouds. So on the bottom here, I'll show you. So just take that and then, you know, add that red in here. Some very skinny ones far away. Okay, and then just drag it all the way down. So I'm going to dab it in the water. Dab my brush in the water so it can run a little smoother. And just blend those in gently. So I'm going to take more of this blue just because I want it to be a little more darker, a little more intense. And add it right underneath. Okay, just like this. And then this is where I can take the red, remember this red? And add it even more underneath, right in here. So I'm gonna change my brush actually to the same brush we used. Take this red, this Artist Loft brush, and blend that red with the blue. Just really quick. Okay, and so I'm gonna draw a quick line. This blue line, skinny one, oops. One out here for fun, like this, far away, okay? And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take this blue and add it right here in the corner. I want this to be blue out here in the sky. And just with water and this blue that we have, I wanna add it lightly in here. You know, blend it in. So I'm gonna take the blue and go over some of these just on top. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it to be more colorful up here in the corner. That's how we really, you know, get the nice glow. So just lightly with water and a little bit of this blue. And as you go out, obviously you want to fade it out. So. And since your brush has a little bit of that water, you know, a little damp, it carries the paint and blends it in nicely when you drag it out like this. Okay, and then this corner right here, I also want to dim it down a bit. Just this corner right here. So I'm going to add a little bit of the blue right in here. And we're going to dim it down. Just a little bit, okay? Maybe carry it out in here. There you go. That's good enough. Right there. Okay, so now we're going to continue and add a few highlights in our clouds. So let's continue with the white and a little bit of this yellow. Okay, and let's add some in here. Just add some in there. Lightly connecting underneath right here. Maybe there's a separation right there. And another separation. Just with white. Create some highlights in your clouds. You could use your finger to fade some out. By doing so, you're going to really make your clouds stand out more. So you could spend as much time as you want on this. Have fun with it. Okay. So just white. Add some underneath these clouds right here. Roughly add them in there. Okay. And now I'm gonna take my detail brush, dab it in the water, make it damp, and take some of the yellow with the white again, swirl it onto your brush, and then we're gonna go over and just touch up a few details, okay? Let's pretend the sun is hitting, you know, this area, this cloud, and it's going in like this. It becomes super bright in here. Okay, continue adding some of these highlights. Just roughly on the tops of your clouds. Maybe bring it down a bit. Maybe there's a separation with this cloud. Like this. Dab my brush in the water. Add some in here. I just want these clouds to pop out a little more. It's fun that way. Just lightly, barely touching the canvas. Okay. And then here, let's add some brighter ones. Remember, all these details will make your painting come to life. Just go over the tops of them, connect some of them, you know. I have no plan. I'm just going with the flow, seeing where it takes me. Okay. There. Separate some of them. Just water and a little bit of, you know, the yellow and white. Dab my brush in the water and continue. Obviously, as it gets further, they get smaller. Okay. A few more little details on these clouds and we can move on. I'm not going to go over there too much. Just add a few in here. It's just yellow and white. Fade it out with your finger. And here it becomes a little more yellowish because it's closer to the sun, so it gets super bright, these clouds. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more of the white in here, just because I feel like this area right here is missing another fluffy friend. And to finalize everything, I'm going to take just this Artist Loft brush and a little bit of this yellow and work a little damp and just go over some of these lighter areas with a bit of yellow, because I want some of these to glow. Just with the yellow. Go over the white. Okay. Maybe go in here a bit. Maybe add another touch of white in here with this cloud. And then just blend that in if you want. But I think we are pretty good. I think I'm gonna be good with the clouds. I'm gonna add a little detail here with a yellow and a little bit of white Same technique, same idea, but just add it right in here. Add some fluffy, far away fluffy ones. Just for fun. Thought it would make it look a little more interesting. It'll match the waves too. Just yellow and a little bit of white with water. There you go. Fade it out. Maybe add a little bit in here. There you go. All right, now let's draw the ocean. Okay, this is the fun part too, and it's not too difficult. So first, what I have here is I just added yellow and white, and then I added black, red, and blue. And then since I already have some yellow around, I'm gonna take some of the yellow here, just a little bit. It's gonna be very dark color, so that's the color we're gonna use. Very dark for our ocean and shadows and things like that. Okay, so we have that color, and then we're gonna mix. I want to make a actually like almost like a pinkish color. So I'm going to actually add a little bit of red. Clean out my palette knife so I won't carry too much of that, you know, the dark colors into my lighter shade. And I just added a touch of red here, and I'm going to mix it in with a little bit of the yellow, okay? A little bit of the yellow and maybe a little more right there. And I'm actually going to add a little more red. Just trying to think how I can add some colors in my water and make it look interesting. So just a little bit more red. Mix that in. And remember, just, you know, do your best to mix these shades. You know, I'm showing you how to, you know, I'm working pretty quick and describing. That's how I usually work, but it doesn't have to exactly be the same, okay? Just always remember that, like, make it your own, and it can be very similar, you know, these shades that I make. Just quickly do them. Don't focus too much on trying to copy exactly on what I have here. Okay, and then now what I'm gonna do is take this, part of this, dark one, and then let's just take some of this pink, mix it in here. I wanna make a lighter shade, a bit lighter, because I wanna add some of the, so maybe take a little more white, mix it in here. Because I wanna add far away waves in the back, and I need a lighter color. So this will do right here. Okay, maybe add a little bit of blue, since ocean is blue. Blue and white, some more white. So just a touch of blue, white, you know, mix it in there. Like that. Right there. It looks like a, you know, it has that gray look to it, but a hint of blue. Okay, so first things first, what we're gonna do is gonna take our flat brush, any 1/2 inch flat brush, and let's draw a straight line. And let's take this color here, right? Remember? Dab our brush in the water. And then we're gonna start, and try your best. You could use masking tape to do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it without it to save time. And I'm gonna just eyeball it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start from here. And just draw the best I can. Okay, just with water. And then here we can go ahead and add a little bit of the darker colors. Okay, so maybe we actually take some of this pink and add some of this pink. Cover the remainder. To make it easier, I'm gonna take my Artist Loft brush, maybe take some of this yellow too. Mix it in with the white and this pink. I'm gonna cover the rest that I missed here and just first cover everything. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is the ocean, it's gonna be floppy and wavy. Okay, now I'm gonna continue with my let's go with my Artist Loft brush, same brush right here. And let's first draw our shapes using this color right here. Our shapes of where we want our waves to be, okay? So first, I'm gonna draw a big one right in here, and this one's gonna go off to the edge like this. And then, oops, this color first. And then it's gonna go down like this, okay? Like that. Gonna look a little rough at first. So it's gonna go all the way up to here. Okay. And then there's a little wave up in here, crashing. Okay, we're gonna come back to this one, but we're just drawing the shapes, okay? First the shapes. All right, and then next, we're gonna have a little wave connecting here. I'm gonna dab my brush in the water so it can run smooth. Right there. And then I'm gonna have a little wave up in here. Okay, this one's gonna have a look, just a little wave connecting. Okay, and then maybe another wave right in here. Just the shadows, like a rough one. That's good enough. Okay, continue. And we're going to add a wave far away. This one's choppy wave. Just dab it in there. Connect it to this. Okay. Connecting waves now. Okay. Next, Let's add a few little ones far away. Just with water. Okay. And here, I'm actually gonna switch to my 1/2 inch brush. I have 2 of these, so I'm gonna use this one. It's a bit smaller in the size, but it's the same idea. So I'm gonna start from here, right? I'm gonna go from here because I want it to look interesting, so I want to start from far, and this is where the wave will end, and it's gonna come down. I'm gonna dab my brush in the water. Use the same color for now. And then have it fade out like this. Okay. It's the same color. And then it comes up here. We want to make a nice little wave connecting in here. And then here is gonna be our bigger one, bigger wave. So we're gonna make it even bigger, right? Make it bigger and just make it choppy. So I'm, you know, like doing like little waves. And don't worry about making it perfect, okay? And then just swirl it back up and carry out like this, okay? So you can use the darker one since it gets darker here. So just, you know, use that darker. And little waves. And then here, I'm gonna dab my brush in the water, continue on with this, and I'm just drawing out the, you know, the shapes first, how I want my ocean to look. Little shadows, okay? This is where the foamy area will be. So, you know, just draw them. And then maybe there's this one that connects with this lightly. And then just make interesting little squiggles in your little foamy areas. This is the wave area, so this is going to be a big one. So that's where we're going to add more detail to it in a bit. Okay, so we're going to continue. So now I'm using this darker one. And fade it out. Let it fade out right there. You could use your finger, it helps. Like this. That's where the wave's crashing down right here. It's gonna crash down. Right about there. And I remember this. I'm gonna make this a bit more wavy in here. Continue on with the dark. Okay. All right. And then here, I like to, so I'm going to switch back to my Artist Loft brush. Here I'm going to take this pink, mix it in with this gray a little bit. I just want a lighter color, because I'm going to add, actually, let's switch back to this. I'm going to start with this. Do the same thing, this 1/2 inch brush, because it's more straighter and flat. So we're going to, take a little bit of that color and I'm going to add some in here. Some straight lines, some shadows and things. And use your finger to kind of carry out that. Okay, just carry that out. Don't worry about being perfect. Okay, like this. And then I'm going to continue down here. Draw a straight line there. We're drawing shadows, okay? That's what we're doing. Maybe this one has a little bigger one. Use your finger. It helps a lot. Just blend them out like that. Continue on with that lighter color. Okay, right underneath here. And then here, we're adding some highlights, and then take more of this pink with the gray, and then okay, now we can switch to our Artist Loft brush. Dab it in the tip in the water, and just a little bit so it won't be too wet, okay? Just a little bit. Sometimes if I get too much water, I just dab it on my paper towel and then continue on. So then here I'm going to continue and add some darker ones. Make them a bit wavy. Okay. Maybe to add some in there. Now I can use the gray one. And add it a little bit darker in here. I want my water to stand out a bit more, you know. And then here, I can use a little bit of actually of this darker one. This beautiful color. I'm gonna connect it. Dab my brush in the water so it can run smooth. Because when it doesn't smear nicely, it's see how nice it runs? So, but you don't want it too. You see when it has too much water, it starts to like create these little see-through, bumps. So make sure it doesn't have that. So just This is like little little shadows in the sand. So just bear with me. We're getting there. And just blend it in. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Maybe add a little more, a few more darker ones here. And these are like shadows. Maybe add some red in here. Roughly add that in. Now here, remember this sunlight? I'm gonna use some white. And what I'm gonna do is take some of this white and then add it right underneath this. Because that's where the sunlight is hitting it. And just blend that in lightly. Make this a little more sharper. Okay. Just blend that in roughly. And then here, as we get closer, we'll mix it a little bit with the yellow. Oops. Not quite there. So just add a little more white right underneath here. We want that light reflection onto our water still. Now we can use a little bit of yellow, make it more yellowish, and this is where it connects right here like this. Because of the reflection of the sun there, we want to make our sandy areas reflect nicely. Looks a little rough at first, but we're laying out the sketches first, okay? So now let's take the red and add a little bit of the red in here. Mix it in with the orange a bit, just a bit. Continue. I dab my brush in the water. Mix a little bit of the orange with the red and fill in some of these areas. Okay, continue on. Take more of the red. just the red in here. Okay, continue with the red, and then you can mix it a little bit with the black, the red, okay? Dab it in the water. But we want that red, we want that pinkish color to go on here. So I'm gonna take my fluffy brush now, squeeze the water out. Okay, squeeze it out like this. And then we're gonna blend everything in nicely. So our brush is damp. I'm gonna take a little bit of the yellow, mix it in with the white. You don't have to do this. I just like to have a little bit of paint on my brush. And start from here. And just blend it in like this. Okay? Everything. Swirl it on. Blend it in. And if you need to, take more of the dark area. Just put it in here. I want this area to be pretty dark. So okay, just like that. So now I'm gonna take the detail flat brush, my black, and then I'm gonna create a few little shadows. Okay. Just black and water. Maybe the reflection of the clouds are up in here, so some of this becomes super dark. You won't be able to see it anyway. So just roughly randomly blend that in. Okay. And then let's take a little bit of the red and the pink. Dab our brush in water so it can run smooth. And add a few more. Make it a little darker. So just use this gray. Maybe there are little rocks along here. Let's add a few little rocks. come back to that. Maybe there's a rock in here. Okay. Okay, let's continue working on the water, okay? And then we'll come back to the details. So, I'm gonna take my Artist Loft brush and then this white and a little bit of yellow. This white, a little bit of yellow, mix it in like this. That's good enough. Now let's create some waves. Remember this one? So we're gonna add a wave in here, just on top of this, remember? Just go over roughly on top. Okay, and then dab it in, create some foam. And then remember here, create a few little highlights. Here we want it to be a little lighter, so we're going to add more in here. That, and then let's continue adding a little more, roughly just on top of these, some of these clouds far away. Just randomly add them in there. And then here we can take the detail brush, continue with this color. And just go over the tops. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? First, create the highlights from the sun hitting the water. Let's take our detail brush, and then here we'll add the foam. Just with water in this color that we have here, just on top of the black areas. Just go over. And add the foam. And I just swirl it, you know. Some can be bigger. And then, you know, obviously create little like squiggly circles, and they start out big, so maybe since it's close, you know, connect them, and then as they go further out they get smaller. Okay, so with the water and just this color, and this is, you know, the easy fun part. You just add it wherever you want it to be really. So Okay, we're gonna go back to our 1/2 inch brush and continue on just adding highlights just randomly, far away little waves. Remember, it's all about the little details. And there's no right or wrong. You can create your ocean the way you want it to look, okay? Okay. Go back to the detail brush and create like little waves. Clean it out with a finger. Go nip upwards. Here we can go back. Let's make it a little orangey. This color. Closer, when we're closer to the sun, we want a little bit lighter color right here. So let's just take some of this black out with this orange. Maybe even make it lighter. So there, like a darker orange, so that it won't, stand out too much. So I'm gonna dab my brush in the water so it can run smoothly. I'm gonna keep saying that. I hope I'm not annoying. And just add little details. In your water. Okay. Now cover some of it with orange and make that a little bit brighter. Just mix it in with the black, red with the black. And let's add far away ones. It's all about the little details. And as we get closer, obviously it gets a little darker. We continue on adding a little more details right there. So I always dab my brush in the water when I move my brush away. And then the rest I'm going to use this color and finish it off real quick. Okay, and now I'm gonna clean out my detail brush, dab it in the water, and use this light color again. Add a few more waves crashing. Just with water. Same thing with the detail brush, and go over some of these a little bit of yellow. And water. And go over the top of these little rocks. change my brush to the flat brush and continue on adding the details. Use a little more yellow since it's getting to the dark zone, darker zone, right there. So take the yellow, add a few more highlights. Okay, I'm gonna grab my inch Artist Loft brush and then take some of this darker areas and then just dab it in straight like this. Randomly in here. Make it look more dramatic. Okay. And then just fade it out. Maybe some in here. Okay. There. And then you can do the same thing with this. Just connect some of these, make them a little bigger if you want. And then in here, I'm gonna add a little bit of more red, just red. Dab it in the water, just a tip, and add a red color right in here. You want this area to be dark. So I'm going to blend that red. And like this, it'll make our water stand out a little nicer. And fade it out. Fade it out to a yellow. Run out of yellow real quick. Just yellow and a little bit of red. Maybe white. Make it a little pinkish. Just blend some of this. Actually, I'm gonna make it even lighter. Like this. That's good. You don't have to do this, but I'm just randomly adding a little bit of more color to my water. It's all gonna dry out and it's gonna look transparent. There you go. And then here, with the flat brush, I'm going to go over some of these. Lightly. Remember this rock? Just go over the top of it. Maybe because of the clouds, those clouds over there, it's slightly reflecting a little bit, so I'm randomly adding these highlights. And then a few more details, just with the white and a detail brush. Just go over the very tops of these waves, maybe far in the back. Lightly add some in there. Okay, that'll make your waves stand out even more. So just go over some of these rocks here with the detail brush to create some highlights. And just this white and yellow. Okay. And now we're going to add a little bit of white and yellow in here. Any cup will do, just a little bit. And I'm going to quickly mix it with any brush here. Okay, and then we're going to grab our 4 flat brush right here. Gonna dab it halfway in here. You see it's a little liquidy because we added water in here. So we're gonna take that, and then what I like to do to create some, sand effect, let's, lightly add, this color here onto our sand. That'll create little reflections from the light. And just kind of like how we do the sky, Starry Night Skies. If you like to see how I do those, check out my previous tutorials. But just, add lightly, and you could even go over to the water a bit. It's mainly up here close, it's not, you don't see them that far. It's mainly up here. So I'm going to do that a few times. Create this effect. I want my sand to pop out. And then you can, follow your wave of sand. You could fade it in there. Almost there. And then you can also throw in some here in your water. It'll make it sparkly. And if you don't go all the way, just right here. And if you added too much, very easy. Just take the paper towel, wet paper towel, and dab it out on some of the areas. As it gets further, you don't need the sparkles up there, just up close. Take some away. Maybe away from the rocks. Okay. There you go. And then we'll do the same thing with the black. So I mixed the black to save time. Do the same thing and add a few little black sand. So just lightly. Don't go too high. So just fade it out like that. Okay. Okay, almost there. And then do some on this side. And then okay. Okay. There you go. All right, I'm gonna call this painting good. You can go back and add as much detail as you want. This is just a, a layout of a sunset over the ocean, and then I can go back and add the details on the sky and my clouds, on the ocean here, and the sand. You could add whatever you want, have fun with this, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you thought down below in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for next week's tutorial. Take care and God bless.